Be looking at the conventions of writing a newspaper article. Newspaper articles have a number of features to them. Let's begin by looking at the purpose. The purpose of a newspaper article is to inform or to convey information quickly. It's to catch the reader's attention. Newspapers are set out with lots of different stories and advertising pieces on them. You want your reader to choose your story out of all the stories on the page and read through it. It's often also read by people who have little time, sitting on the train, sitting around at breakfast, on a break at work. People are quickly skimming through this and looking for something to take their interest before moving on to something else. A way of grabbing the reader's interest is by using what is called a reverse pyramid. That is where the most important features come first in the article. You put all of your information at the beginning, and then as you move through, you start to reduce the amount of information that you're giving to the reader. This helps keep the reader interested and helps pull them through the story, pulling them towards the end. The tone of a newspaper article is formal, and it must be written in the third person, so no personal language. All punctuation applies to a newspaper article, but for this one we'd really like you to focus on using inverted commas or the quotation mark, capitalization of proper nouns and the beginning of sentences, and also the correct use of termination points, full stops, exclamation marks and question marks. Okay, let's look at some of the key features of a newspaper article. The first thing you'll notice is it's set out in columns. Columns are designed to break the information up and make it appear less intimidating and more inviting for the reader. Okay. Next we have headlines. Headlines are designed to be eye-catching and to tell us a little bit about the story, sometimes using humour, alliteration or hyperbole to really make the reader interested. Directly underneath we also have the byline. It tells us who the story is by. In this case it's by Julia Holmes, and also says which date the story is filed, Wednesday, March 3rd, 2016 in this case. Okay. Now, in order to achieve a reverse pyramid, we have to start with all or much of information at the beginning. The first paragraph has to include your 5 W's, your who, what, when, where and why. In the byline we've already included the when, we have the date. So now we just want to include the who, what, where and why. So it reads, Darwin Northern Territory. Jason Stevens, a 26-year-old man, has proven why human beings are the most dangerous predator on Earth. In the past year, he has hunted and trapped 46 crocodiles in the urban centres of Darwin. Here we have the where, Darwin Northern Territory, the who, Jason Stevens, the what, the hunting and trapping of crocodiles, and why, because they're in urban centres in Darwin. Always start with that your first paragraph. Another key feature is that we're going to include a picture of what the story is about, something eye-catching, and it's going to draw the reader's attention, and we also caption that thing so the reader knows exactly what the picture is of. Another key feature of a newspaper article is the use of quotes to show that the story is current, and this is happening in real time or quite recently. We include quotes directly from the public or people concerned. So here we have to use the inverted comma, and it's underlined in blue what is said directly. It's a question of safety for the community. Small children play in many of the areas I capture these crocs, said Mr. Stevenson. This demonstrates that the expanding urban areas of Darwin are now encroaching on crocodile habitat. So when we include a quote, we have the quote, and we clearly put inverted commas to show where the direct speech begins and ends. We also need to say who is saying the quote, said Mr. Stevens, but we also need to say how the quote relates to the story. Why are we including this in our story? Why is it relevant for the reader to know this? It's very important that you include quotations on a number of occasions during your newspaper articles, and you do it correctly. They're the features of a newspaper article. There's a few things you need to get your head around, but I think that with a bit of practice you should find it pretty straightforward.